Something happened today that made me more bullish than I ever have been before. In this video, I want to talk about why I am so certain that 2024 is going to be a massive year for the cryptocurrency market, because right now, there are a lot of people saying we have already seen the top of Bitcoin and we are going into a massive recession, a massive depression. In this video, I want to lay out my logic for why I am so confident in this market and why I think 2024 is going to be a massive year. In this video, we are going to go over that, but make sure to stick around to the end because I want to show you something very exciting happening with the Flare token right now, as well as a brand new documentary at the very end of the video involving XRP. Guys, this thing looks absolutely sick. You are not going to want to miss it. I want to start this video out and talk about some very exciting news that we got earlier today, and that is that inflation is absolutely plummeting. And I want to break down in this video exactly why I think this is such a big deal for the cryptocurrency market, because I think a lot of people are missing the big picture here. Guys, the consensus on crypto Twitter right now is that we are going back into a bear market. The top has already happened and we are right around the corner from a Great Depression and a massive crash in the market. I want to explain why I don't think that is true, and it is important to understand here that this is not the consensus view. I am going against what most people are saying, but I want to show you why I think that, because I think the data is really going to help you understand why I am so confident 2024 is a bullish year. So, I want to start off with inflation. What you are looking at right here is a chart of inflation over the past couple months. Back in March, inflation was above 6.5 SDE, and it has plummeted to 134. This right here is making me extremely confident about the future of 2024. We saw a massive crash in 2021 and 2022 because inflation ripped up to 6. The markets got scared, the markets got uncertain, and everyone panicked and started selling stocks and cryptocurrencies because these are seen as risks to assets, and no asset manager can make a case to their constituents that, in a rising inflation environment, they should be holding risk to assets. High inflation means there is a lot of uncertainty in the market, and therefore you have to move to safe investments. That is just the way it works. But what you are looking at right here is that the uncertainty of the high inflationary environment is gone. We are now below the Fed's 2 target rate. We are at 1.34 inflation. So, you might be wondering, why hasn't the Federal Reserve started cutting rates yet? Why is the Federal Reserve still leaving us in a high interest rate environment? Well, take a look at this number below the green box, below 1.34. That means the government's reported inflation rate is 3.4. That 134 you are looking at right there is not the government reported number. The government reported number is actually 3.4. So, what are we looking at here? We are looking at a leading indicator. Trueflation is actually ahead of what the government is reporting, and that means the government is yet to see that inflation has plummeted below its targets. This makes me think that the government is right around the corner to understand that inflation is gone, and they are going to start cutting rates. Now, a lot of people have heard me say that and say, okay, well, even if the government does start cutting rates, typically when the government cuts rates, that means the crash is right around the corner. If you look at past crashes in the economy, they have always happened when the government started cutting interest rates. So, people are constantly asking me, Nicole, how are you bullish with the Federal Reserve about to cut rates when typically that means a crash in the market? And I want to break down why I think that the Federal Reserve cutting rates this time is actually going to be bullish. What we have seen in the past is that high interest rates kill the stock market. We have seen that when we have high interest rates, companies start performing poorly, and the Federal Reserve, as a result of that, is forced to slash interest rates to save the economy. But this time, high interest rates haven't hurt the economy that badly. Companies like Amazon, companies like Meta, companies like Tesla, and companies like Apple are still beating earnings. We have not entered into the recessionary environment that high interest rates normally cause. So, what I'm trying to show you is that the reason why the market typically goes down when the Federal Reserve starts cutting rates is not happening here. There's no big recession, there's no depression happening. So, this time is actually different from times past. In the past, the Federal Reserve was cutting interest rates because we were in a severe recession or depression. And right now, that isn't happening. So, I believe the Federal Reserve is going to cut interest rates because inflation is back below their target. But we haven't seen the negative effects of the high interest rates. It's for those reasons that I actually believe we're in a very bullish environment. What I believe is going to happen is that the Federal Reserve is going to start cutting interest rates because inflation is below their target, and it is going to signal to big asset managers that we are back in a risky environment. We are back in a situation where they can start investing in risky assets like stocks and cryptocurrencies. And the last thing I want to point out here is just what the market is telling us, because I don't think enough people saying that when the Federal Reserve cuts rates, we're going to see a market crash are looking at what the market is literally telling us. Every single time we see an indication that rate cuts are right around the corner, we see the stock and cryptocurrency markets pump big time. The stock market and the cryptocurrency market want rate cuts. And that is what they're telling us when they pump news that rate cuts could be around the corner. Every single time rate cuts get delayed, and we learn that we're going to be in a high interest rate environment longer, stocks and cryptocurrencies drop off big. And that's what people are failing to understand. The market is telling us what it wants. The market wants low interest rates so we can avoid the recession. And every single quarter we go into where we don't get interest rate cuts, the market is telling us, hey, we're getting nervous because we're worried the recession or the depression could be closer if we leave rates high. Guys, to me, it seems like we avoided the black swan scenario. It seems like we got out of this massive mess of a high interest rate environment without the crash happening. If we cut rates soon, I really do think we're going to be in a position where we can get rid of inflation and survive the high interest rate environment. I think this is exactly what asset managers are going to want to see to start investing aggressively back into these markets. And this is why I'm so bullish on 2024. And with all that said, I want to wrap up this video with two quick things. Earlier today, Flare was absolutely killing it. It was a top performer in the cryptocurrency top 100. A massive shout out to Flare. I think people are really getting excited about F assets around the corner. People are really getting excited about a brand new blockchain that is bringing something completely unique and different to the cryptocurrency industry. Flare is a project that I have been heavily buying. Everyone in my private group knows exactly how bullish I am on Flare. And if you want to buy Flare, my favorite place is to do it on Uphold. Uphold just got rated as the best exchange of the year. Massive shout out to Uphold. Uphold has blown me away with the things they implement on their platform. And I always tell people, if you're going to hold Flare anywhere that's not in self-custody, do it on Uphold because they're going to make sure you get all your airdrops. Guys, you know the link is in the description of this video. And I want to finish this video off and show you the trailer to the XRP documentary. This thing blew me away. Guys, I'm going to let this video take you out. Listen to this. I think this has the potential to be absolutely amazing. The SEC tried to allege that all sales of XRP were unregistered securities offerings. On December 21st, Brad Garlinghouse came out and basically informed the world that they were soon going to be sued by the SEC. The SEC is preparing to sue the crypto startup for selling unlicensed securities. Can you explain your view of whether Ethereum is a security or not? But then why do you believe that Ripple is a security? We don't get involved in these types of public forums talking about any one project. We believe current offers and sales of Ether are not securities transactions. The SEC is trying to capture the digital asset space. They went after Ripple, specifically XRP, because it was the biggest threat to the incumbent banking and financial system. You know, the United States government is probably the biggest bully in the world. I read the complaint and it was terrible news. People are going to lose money and people have their life savings in XRP.